Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 37 of Sign of the Dark House, a Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition Gothic horror podcast. Because this is Gothic horror, there may be some things that come up to a line for some people. Things such as blood, gore, talk about trauma, body horror, and other such things. If there is something that comes up to a line for you, please take a break. Your support means a lot to us, but so does your mental health. So where we last left off, you all had explored Ethel and Petunia's shop and house, having discovered a sentient rose bush that was running around. You also discovered the entrance to a sewer, of which you got attacked by a crocodile instantly. Belladonna was able to show off some of her new powers that she had gotten, as well as you met a brand new ally, as it seems, named Toothy, the crocodile witch. After a pleasant conversation and finding some information, including that Sebastian Argenta had people running through the sewers to bring bodies to the hospital, or living patients to the hospital, and that Toothy's crocodiles had eaten some of them in transit, you left and rescued Rosie the Rosebush, bringing her back to your family's house, adding yet another interesting person to the menagerie that is slowly developing around the Kritzwald family. Afterwards, you had a lovely evening, whereupon the door opened and Dove and Arthur came in, announcing that there's a problem and we need to talk. This week, still due to scheduling conflicts, we do not have Yofi, but hopefully we will have him back soon. Seeing as how we have a story to progress, we are handing the character sheet off to Kyle, and I will be doing minimal role play. So his character will still be here, but the player is not. So, as Dove, Arthur, and Jasmine enter the Kritzwald living room and announces that there's a problem, what would you all like to do?
I stand up abruptly. What are you? Where have you been? What are you talking about?
Well, I needed some help with something, and it might be a bit bigger than we thought it was at first.
I feel like Lark flies into the room still cradling this decapitated head of a celestial. Maybe, I don't know, maybe he's just like petting some of the hair off of it.
Dove doesn't seem to phase her. Arthur kind of gives you an interesting look and then just kind of gives a face of, well, that's Lark. Dove just stoic, doesn't budge. It is a problem involving one of my jobs, let's just say.
Okay. Mom, Dad, maybe can we get the room?
At this point, your mom does kind of, sure, that would be okay. And you see your mom and dad get up and leave the room, and even Rosie the Rosebush, despite the fact not having much socialization, kind of gets the hint and goes, "Oh, I'll go," and just kind of toddles out of the room with their little pot wobbling as they run down the hallway. And you have the room to yourself.
All right. So what are we getting ourselves into?
I think the biggest problem is that we need a body. Not just any body. A body good enough to fool the assassins.
The assassins who killed that body?
No, the assassins who contracted me to kill. The Vespers, I'm sure you're aware of them, at least somewhat.
Yeah, at this point, yeah. So you were hired to kill someone.
Mm-hmm.
Did you kill them?
No, that's the problem. They were killed beforehand, and they've been replaced.
Well, we got the head covered, but the rest of the body.
Lark just like shoots you a, you told me this was mine, sort of like defensively squeezes it.
You
Lark,
can always sell it.
It is starting to smell, so maybe we figure out how to get rid of that. But so they've been replaced by like a body double, or is this just like their position has been filled?
They have been replaced by a, well, I hesitate to say body double. It's not a doppelganger or a changeling or anything like that. So I'm sure you're aware of the town of Lockjaw.
Is that the one that the Burhag is in?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, I've heard of it. I definitely look at Arthur like, this is sort of your deal here. Lockjaw.
Dove continues, and she goes, well, apparently, a couple of weeks ago, there was a letter that arrived at the Darkmoor Cathedral asking for assistance with the dealing with the hags, as it seems they had got more active as of recently. The priest at the church of Saint Freya up in Lockjaw has not been viewed favorably for quite some time. The Vespers decided that since he had written for help and had also written he was coming to Darkmoor for a visit soon, that they would have me assassinate him after he had given his plea, and the Vespers would play it off as the hags having a bit of a delayed reaction to a person managing to slip from their grasp. This was more to light a fire under the butt of the church to start doing something about its more fringe communities and the priests that are there either becoming heretical or dealing with outside forces that wish to destroy communities that these churches are supposed to protect. The Darkmoor Cathedral, as well as the head of the community in mourning, have not exactly been doing the best of jobs making sure that that wasn't happening. The Vespers decided to take action, 2 birds, 1 stone, 1 heretical priest dead, and a good enough reason for the church to intercede and begin investigating its fringe communities. Well, apparently, Saint Freya was not too fond of her priest's teachings. The man, Father Freeze, as he is known, was replaced by a Yeti. The reason I believe it is Saint Freya's work is because the Yeti was enchanted, so to speak, with a modicum of intelligence, as well as the ability to cast divine magic that Father Freeze would be able to do, and to take the form of Father Freeze to presumably play the part until she was able to replace him. As it seems, Saint Freya is one of the few saints that have a significantly more direct impact on her congregation and congregants, as opposed to others with more broad appeal, let's just say. And so I have a bit of an issue. Saint Freya is not known for being the most merciful of saints. What she wants done is what she wants done. The Vespers are also not going to be too pleased with this. They want a body. They want Father Freeze out of the picture. So my problem is, I've been given 7 days to produce a body, believable enough for them to accept that Father Freeze is dead. The Yeti has eaten Father Freeze, so there is no body. 2 days have already passed since his arrival to the city. I have 4 more. 5, sorry. My math is a bit off today. I have 5 days to figure out how I'm going to fool the Vespers, or how I'm going to protect myself from Saint Freya's wrath, provided I have to kill it.
Can't we just wait for that Yeti to like use the bathroom? Gather up the bones, whatever.
I don't think that's how that works.
Wow, that's a lot to unpack there.
It is.
And Arthur has so graciously offered our assistance, which we're always happy to throw our lot in with you, Dove. So do you have any, so well, I guess one option, kill the Yeti.
And I understand, though, that you want to directly aggravate a chosen being from the only god you mortals worship that actually bothers paying attention.
Yes, it does. I don't think I've ever heard of a saint acting quite so directly in our modern era.
She is one of the absolute few that seems to. Many mountain communities have seen her almost in the flesh, according to them. The other option is to, well, incite the wrath of the Vespers. And seeing as how you, Percy, are a priest, there may be some danger in doing that, especially if your involvement is found.
Okay. Then is there an option C?
Currently, I'm unsure. I do not have direct contact with most of my employers. It is more of a loose network than a clearly structured guild. And so the only evidence and messages that I can use are sending spells to contacts, of which there aren't very many, leaving corpses in broad daylight or in very specific locations for the purpose of people finding them and the information making its way back via word of mouth, and a variety of other methods. It's very hard to simply get more than one of us in a room, so to speak.
I see. Well, you said you just need a body. It doesn't have to be the correct body.
The problem is they are aware of Father Freeze's appearance. He stood before the Archbishop just the other day and made his plea. They wanted me specifically to wait until afterwards so that the body would not only be easily identifiable, but there would be obvious motive. He begged for help for hags terrorizing his community and then turned up dead. Easiest thing to do is to say it was the hags and send somebody to deal with them. Other investigation isn't needed. It's an easy and plausible story.
I see. Well, Lark, you're a little trickster. Is there something you could conjure up to deceive them?
Conjure up to deceive people I've never met, who I have no idea what skills they may or may not have.
I'm just spitballing here.
Can always kill someone else.
But we need to make him disappear.
That is the issue. And if I know anything about Yetis, is that they're very stubborn creatures. It was very clear that the Yeti, having actually spoken the name of Saint Freya as having tasked him with staying in this position, will not likely leave it willingly. Hence the dilemma. I'm also afraid that if I kill the Yeti, the form won't stick. It will simply revert to a Yeti, and, well, there's the issue. We don't have an identifiable body.
Right.
Now, what if the Yeti were exposed where people could see Father Freeze turn into a Yeti?
That would be an option.
I mean, imagine the shock of the clergy if they found out one of their own was merely a fell messenger sent by the hags to lure unsuspecting faithful back to their icy domain to be tortured or eaten, or whatever these... If it's in the ice and snow, they're probably burr. Just a thought.
That is certainly an option. Finding a way to force it to change back is quite hard. That would be easier than finding a body.
Well,
How does he look like? Has any of you met him? I have not.
Well, we've both met the Yeti in its form as Father Freeze. So we are aware of his appearance, at least. Well, it seems that we have somewhat of headway with this dilemma. We do have 5 days to arrange this, which is supposed to be when Father Freeze heads back to Lockjaw.
all
So we
right.
have 5 days to orchestrate the revealing of the Yeti. So it's not a rush per se, but if you have things that you need to do beforehand, we have time.
Okay. So either of you, you're both proficient magical casters. Do you have any spells that could reveal a creature?
Well, I'm depending on how stalwart this Saint Freya has made the Yeti's mind. I could make him very particularly, how should I put this? Murderous, I suppose, to anybody who's unfortunate enough to be near him. Hence the idea of revealing him.
That is... I have a few qualms with that plan.
I mean, if your faith's already willing to sacrifice one priest, what are a few more?
Would it really be easier to dispel?
He was a heretic. Clever said that he was a heretic.
A heretic because he was chosen by one of the saints you all worship anyway, and just happened to have a slightly different mindset than the ones back here in Darkmoor.
Just look at Dove, just give me a reason to not like this man, please.
I was simply told what I was told. That is my job.
Dove makes sense to me. She reminds me a little bit of some people I know back home in a way. This, it's cute, Percy. Your naivete, adorable.
Is it really easier
Thanks.
to dispel whatever Freya did to that Yeti than to just grab a dead body and just make it look like.
Even if you did that, what's to stop this Yeti from continuing his public appearances?
Sure. Do we think? I think both Rerek and I can cast the Dispel Magic spell.
No.
Oh, I can. So do we think it's just a spell that's transforming this Yeti that we could?
Perhaps.
Is it a simple spell if it's from a saint?
Well, divine magic, I think. Spells that I cast can still be dispelled. So I don't see why this wouldn't also work like that.
If I can touch him, I can figure out what kind of magic it is, what kind of spell it is. But that's all I can do.
If all you do is dispel whatever is transforming him or making him appear to be Father Freeze, what's to stop him from just telling the gathered crowds that he is the messenger of Saint Freya from the frozen north because he's a Yeti? You need to a little more nuance, Percy. Make him attack the general public. Maybe we can stop it before he kills anyone.
I really don't love that plan, Lark. I mean, people would be scared. He's a Yeti. People are scared of. He's a big monster.
People aren't that shallow, I think.
I mean, if they're that weak-willed that they'd be shocked by the appearance of a Yeti from a priest, it might be a little funny for me. There's an alligator witch living in their sewers. There's roving packs of undead hands strangling children outside of their gates, and this is where they draw their lines? Ugh, mortals.
Can't we just go and do it?
So what day is the mass happening that we need to go to? Is that 2 days from now?
Tomorrow.
Or is it tomorrow?
I think it's tomorrow by the time.
I think it's tomorrow.
Okay. Well, that takes priority. But
let's invite him there.
Perfect. Invite him to the
God.
Please.
I think I would like tomorrow to go as smoothly as possible. So perhaps not. But
I'm just saying it would be like 2 birds in 1 stone. Let's do everything in 1 day and finish everything.
Dove, you this is your target. I'm assuming you know something of his movements or where he'll be at certain times. Is there a good time where we could expose him in front of a lot of people?
The only time that I can think of is probably during a mass. He seems to be very much trying to hide away in case the magic goes away. I'm assuming the Yeti doesn't quite understand what magic has been placed upon him.
Mm-hmm. And if the Yeti wants to keep up the act, he would have to pretend that he knows the Archbishop. And the Archbishop is the one performing the mass tomorrow. Simple logic.
Are there any, would there even be a mass for Saint Freya in Darkmoor?
Most likely not, no.
Okay.
Doesn't have to be. You just have to attend that mass.
So
tomorrow.
I guess the only mass you really would want to attend would be the Archbishop's.
Yeah, Saint Freya is the patron saint of mountain dwellers and mountain travelers.
That is not here.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's like far up north and places with a lot of mountains and a lot of snow. You would know she is similar to Saint Heskin and arguably Saint Ginny, one of the very few obviously non-human saints. She is Goliath and possibly part frost giant.
Neat. Well, then I guess we don't really have a choice then. We'll see him at the mass tomorrow, and we'll have to reveal him then.
But we're gonna have to do it after destroying the phylactery.
Most likely.
Okay.
Well, whatever ends up happening, I will be helping as much as I can from the shadows, but I can't reveal myself publicly.
Understood. Looks like it's on us then.
Also, I'm trying to count how many spells are cast on this Yeti. Sounds like there's 2. If you dispel it, do you cast it? Do you like dispel both of those spells?
Typically, well, you would know this as a wizard. Typically, if something is
okay.
under multiple effects, well, wizard you knows, player you might not. So I'll explain it, but your character would know. Typically, if something has or is under multiple effects, when you cast a spell such as Dispel Magic on it, you can choose which effect to dispel.
So it does only dispel one that you choose.
Yes.
We're gonna
Some
need to know this.
spells have to be dispelled in multiple castings of Dispel Magic. Those are typically ones that have become permanent or are more involved. Others, it only simply cancels out one, so you would need to dispel multiple effects.
We might need 2 people who can do dispel, right? We might.
I mean, I could cast it twice, I guess.
Can you, like one after the other consecutively?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Let's do that.
Wonderful. All right. Well, I guess we will, or maybe we won't see you tomorrow, Dove. But our plan is to reveal him at the end of the Archbishop's Mass tomorrow.
Where everyone is.
All right. That sounds like a plan. And she gets up and she begins to walk away and pauses and turns back to you. I thought that perhaps you should take this. And she gives you, it's entirely closed in her palm, and she presses it into yours, and you feel it is a small amulet. And you open your hand and you recognize it. It is Dr. Argenta's holy symbol, but it is somewhat caked in blood.
Awesome. Yeah, Percy's face definitely like goes a shade darker, and I put it in my pocket.
Well, I will see you all soon, I hope. And she leaves, and Arthur just, I think I'm going to take a bottle of whiskey up to my room and just take a nap. That was a lot to process. And he just grabs a bottle of whiskey and goes into the living room and just crashes on the couch with Jasmine.
Right. You do that.
So at home. We all feel at home here.
Yeah, maybe I probably talked to my parents about how much we've been intruding. It's fine. Well, we should get some rest.
Wasn't it bother
Isn't it-
you, Percy? The Vespers wanted rid of the original Freeze because he was useless, and to at least eventually get aid to the Lockjaw, was it? And when the church was too slow at it, a saint intervened herself and put a new person of power in place, and they still just want to prove their point, so they're having us oust him or end him. It's positively rotten, which Probably is why I appreciate Dove a little more than I did before.
Yes, I had that thought. I just didn't think it was a good thing to bring it up in front of her.
Ah,
No, I don't know if this is the right thing. This is a bit of a gray area here. I mean, is it even? I don't know where I should stand with the Vespers.
all I'm saying is that when Arthur learned of who I serve, he asked what would stop me from turning on you all on a dime, and now I'm just wondering. If the church told you all to kill me, how long would I survive?
Lark, I wouldn't kill you. I would. I already rebelled against the church once, and they threw me away, so what's the worst they can do a second time?
Fair enough.
This is gonna take some thinking. Do you think this is the right thing to do? I mean, Dove is, nice, and Arthur likes her,
Nice.
and she's a powerful ally to have. But is this really the right thing to do? This Yeti hasn't done anything wrong, as far as we understand.
Are you really thinking about it now that you said yes to her?
Well, I don't think saying no is really an option for her.
She was asking. She wasn't demanding. But
That's the
fine.
sort of woman that if you tell her no, you wind up with a knife at your throat later.
True.
This is a true, a true sign from a real saint. It feels weird to be attacking that.
Honestly, that's the only thing that personally perturbs me is I've yet to see how powerful your saints are when they're actually active here. And if one of them finally is, I'd rather... Entities that claim divinity tend to be more powerful on the planes that they come from. So I'd rather not poke a bear while we're at it.
And Dove did mention that she was scared of incurring Freya's wrath. And if we're going to be the ones actually killing this Yeti, are we going to be incurring Freya's wrath?
Well, we will be exposing the Yeti in your church, in a different church, overlooked by a different saint. So I don't know how that's gonna go. I'm just curious. I want to see what'll happen.
How vengeful is Saint Freya, Percy? You're the only one who seems to know much about your religion around here.
I put her up there with one of the more vengeful ones.
Wait, who's the saint that Archbishop?
I wrote it down.
Archbishop Sherman is devoted to Saint Golgotha. She is the patron saint of Darkmoor itself and of funerary rituals.
So there you go. We have another saint there. It's not like,
Well,
I don't know how they respect each other when it comes to these kinds of things. But like, I want to see how those two saints square up. Or
well, Saint Golgotha isn't literally there. It's just.
I know. It's still a church dedicated for her, and Archbishop is dedicated to her. So we'll see. I want to see what happens.
If it weighs so heavily on the thing you call a conscience, we could just have a conversation with Yeti Freeze before anything happens. See where he falls within this grand scheme of things.
That's
Yeti Freeze.
not a bad idea, Lark.
Is he an abominable snowman?
I think we should do that. We should try to find him before the mass starts.
Also, isn't it morning right now?
I think it's still night or afternoon of that day.
It's late evening.
Really? I thought it was like in the morning because we all just woke up and we had breakfast.
No, that was the other day when you went to
To the
deliver the chalice, and then you explored the sewers and came
The-
back.
crocodile witch. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. We can head there in the morning, try to find the Yeti impersonating Father Freeze, and try to destroy a phylactery. It'll be a big day tomorrow.
You suppose that's going to cause any complications?
I sincerely hope not.
What's new?
So I think I'm going to go sleep.
Me too.
So you all go to your separate sleeping quarters. And the
By
night goes...
sleep, I mean sit in my bed and listen to a bunch of dissonant whispers in my mind for the entire night.
Yes, there is that. Speaking in strange tongues of which you barely hear. You might have heard them once or twice, but very rarely. You do also occasionally hear Rosie walking up and down the hall, as Rosie doesn't need to sleep since they are a rose bush. And so they are exploring the house, just walking around. But otherwise, the night goes by mostly uneventfully. The morning comes. And what would you all like to do?
Get up and make some food, get the boys ready for our big day out.
Have we like given Mr. Yeti an invitation to that mass, or do we?
I would
Just
think that he would.
Do we just expect him to be there?
He's a visiting saint. Honestly, if he's expecting help from the Archbishop, it would be rude not to attend his mass.
Yeah, but have we invited him yet? We literally went to bed and woke up.
I don't really think it's our position to invite him.
Okay.
Already talked to the Archbishop. He probably got the word that there was going to be a mass.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I get a pitcher and I fill it full of water and hand it to Lark so he can water Rosie.
Lark's just like shaking the head over top of Rosie to see if he can get any more blood out of it. Just a little.
Sadly, it seems most of the blood has either coagulated significantly or has dried up entirely.
Ugh.
Please do something with that, Lark. It is really starting to smell rank.
I'll figure out what to do with it the next time I get a missive from back home. Someone should be able to take it off my hands. In the meantime, though, Rerek, could I put this back in your bag for a little bit?
Sure.
I'll just need it each night before I go to bed in case anyone.
Do you know how to shrink a head?
Oh, I don't know how to shrink a head, but Granther can probably turn it into a very delicious fertilizer.
Lovely.
Okay. At least when it's shrunken, it'll be preserved and not be smelly.
Your bag's magic, darling. Nothing's going to. It's not.
I'm talking about more when you're cuddling with it than when it's in there.
But the beauty and the decay.
Okay. I literally burn people who decays things. So,
And how fast is this celestial's head decaying anyway?
it has been 3 days.
It probably isn't decaying that quickly. There is an element of divinity that is still there, keeping it somewhat fresh
and juicy.
But it's definitely clear that the divine magic isn't going to hold on for long.
Yeah.
Eventually it will start rotting.
Yeah.
You might have already pulled out a few clumps of hair already.
think,
the signs are starting to show that it is going to start decaying.
can I say that last night Percy cast gentle repose on it?
Sure, I will allow you to do that.
It seems such a waste. We worked so hard for this. Might as well do something with it. But I'm gonna put it in Rerek's magic bag.
Who's
Wait.
ready for a mass? I'm ready to go to church.
Yeah. Let's go to the cathedral. Let's do that.
Yep, you head out into the morning light. As you know that Archbishop Sherman likes to hold his particular masses a little bit earlier in the morning so that he can get stuff done in the afternoon. As you're walking along with, of course, Arthur and Jasmine, who are there.
Or very quiet.
Look, it's just a lot right now. A lot of stuff is happening.
Sorry.
It's just something we're going to have to deal with. It's fine. You do hear the bells begin to ring in the cathedral that are announcing the time for Mass. And people are starting to leave their homes and make their way as you enter the cathedral square and back into the actual cathedral itself, into the sanctuary where people are beginning to gather.
Wonderful. In the cathedral square, do I see? Well, do I even know what Father Freeze looks like? I probably don't.
No.
Damn it. Okay. Would I at least have an idea of like, wouldn't a visiting
robe would
priest
look different.
have some sort of like a retinue or like would I recognize iconography of Saint Freya or something?
You would most likely recognize the iconography of Saint Freya. When you first enter the sort of learning process, you don't devote yourself to a saint immediately. There's a period of time in which you kind of are encouraged to pray around and figure out who calls to you.
Pray around. This is my hoe phase.
And so you are provided with various materials for various saints. You would know that Saint Freya tends to use the six-pointed snowflake, and her priests tend to wear somewhere between navy and midnight blue robes.
Wonderful. Do I see anyone here who fits that description?
If you can make a perception check.
I can. I rolled a natural 1.
Oof. Oh, and that does mean things happen. Let me flip to the thing. Roll me a d4.
3.
Oh. All right. Well, who in the group is closest to Percy?
Probably me.
Am I going to be scared of Rerek again?
Yes. Yes, you are. And you are afraid until the end of your next turn.
Okay.
So there is quite a tense moment where you freeze up and all of the voices whisper terrifying things and ominous predictions, and eventually you manage to brush it off. I'd like to think that as you guys are walking down the aisle, you kind of freeze and hang back a little bit.
Yeah.
And eventually just muster up the courage to keep going.
I have like giant eyes staring at Rerek. And then, okay, no, it's fine. Okay, push onwards.
I did just roll my portents for today, and they're pretty good.
Wonderful. Okay, well, I guess can I reattempt that perception check?
Yes, you
Let's
may.
go back in time and redo it. Okay,
Give
you can
him help
Okay,
action.
that's one. I did good. I'll take the help action. But
Yeah.
I did very well. I got a 25.
Yay.
All right. That is pretty good. So you kind of take a breath and scan the room again. And the very front row, the leftmost of the frontmost pew, there is a man who is wearing a sort of midnight blue robe, who is standing with a sort of staff that has the snowflake symbol on the end of it, as well as there's one hanging around his neck.
Wonderful.
He is also standing with what appears to be some sort of altar boy who has a similar vestment on, but does not carry a staff.
Cool. Can I make like an insight check on the altar boy to see if he is like aware that he's been replaced by a Yeti or like weirded out by him at all in any way?
Yeah, you can.
Dropped it. Insight is gonna be 16.
You don't see any signs of distress.
Okay. I look at Lark and I'm gonna be like, I'll need your help on this. You're a lot better at getting things out of people than I am.
You should see how good I am at getting things into people.
I walked into that one. And I'll start approaching the front. I think I might have a quick word with the Archbishop. If he's up here, is he at the front?
He is not. You don't see him anywhere.
Is that weird for him to not be up there?
No.
I
Okay.
was an altar boy, and the priest would be in his chamber. In the back of the altar, there would be like kind of an office.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, he's most likely in there preparing for
exactly
the mass.
with all the other altar boys.
I still might go talk to him after we talk to the priest or something, I guess. But I guess I'll walk up to the front, up to Father Freeze with Lark and Rerek. And I'll give like a very polite like bow and be like, Father Freeze, am I correct?
Yes, that would be me.
Can I shake his hand and like do identify what kind of spell they were?
Identify takes 1 minute to cast.
Jesus. Okay. I will shake his hand for a
For
whole
1 minute.
Also, the fact that, like, you would obviously be casting a spell.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hold on.
I can subtle spell anything I want, and nobody can catch me doing it, but
You don't have to identify.
probably detect magic.
I mean, detect magic is fine, I guess.
You'd still be like shaking his hand and just muttering or shouting, and I don't know what your magic sounds like.
Detect magic would just be like I don't even have to touch him.
Oh,
Right.
I
should
just
cast
look
that
at
on
him.
the way in. Then it looks less suspicious.
Okay.
Yeah, you can do that.
Let's cast it. Boop.
All right. Well, I will say as you are approaching him and you've cast it, there is quite a bit of transmutation magic around both Father Freeze and the altar boy.
Uh-oh.
Whoa. Well, we have to be wary about that altar boy too. Seems like he's not what he seems
no.
to be. He's probably another Yeti.
Okay, I guess we'll continue our little conversation here.
Mhm. Jumping back to the present.
Yes, I'll be like, my name is Percy. I studied here. I've been doing more hospital work recently, though. I was just intrigued to hear that we had visitors from Lockjaw. I don't think I've ever met really anyone from Lockjaw, and I've only really heard tale of most of the teachings of Saint Freya, so I was very interested in meeting you.
Yes, well, Saint Freya is very gracious to us up north. Well, it is lovely to meet you. Of course, if you have any questions about Saint Freya, don't be afraid to ask me.
Percy just has like a sinking look on his face, like, oh no, he's nice.
Lark's just like floating over Percy's shoulder, and he's going to be like, a little dove whispered something in my ear a while ago about some of my kinfolk causing problems in Lockjaw. Is that true?
Yes, the Coven of Hags has been quite persistent in causing trouble, snowstorms and that kind of thing. I'm, of course, not powerful enough to take them on, so I came to ask for help.
Wise move, I suppose.
And Percy looks nervous now. Percy, I guess I kind of want to leave this situation. I don't know what to do anymore. like, right. Well, it's been lovely meeting you. I'm sure the mass will be starting soon. I'm going to start power walking towards the back where I think Archbishop Sherman is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he is in his office. He is sorting through some notes, presumably for his sermon. And he looks up. Oh, welcome. Did you bring the phylactery?
Yes, of course. And I'll take it and give it to him.
Of course, as you bring it out of the bag,
I'm like, where did my bag go?
I'm going to assume you guys followed him, knowing that
yeah.
you guys are going to have to take it. As he touches it, he kind of drops it on the counter. Ouch! You were not wrong about...
Maybe some gloves.
That would probably be wise. I'm not sure I have... And he kind of pulls open some drawers looking for some gloves. So there isn't anything else I need to do aside from use it in a mass.
I just look back at Rerek again.
Yes, I'm still over there at the thing. I don't think I'm with you in there. Am I? I don't know.
You probably are.
Yeah.
Okay. Poof! I teleport there. I guess. Yes.
A
lot going on. Oh my god.
As far as we know, yes, that should be all. But we'll be in the pews just to make sure everything goes fine. Yeah. So, Father, you don't happen to know anything? The visiting Father Freeze has anything strange happened with him at all?
He seems to be a bit of a recluse, but other than that, he seems perfectly nice.
Yes, he seems quite nice, actually. Right.
In that
okay.
Yeti's belly.
What's the story of the child that travels with him?
Oh, that's his altar boy, Dimitri.
Are altar boys like pets to you?
No, they fulfill a very specific duty to the church. They assist in helping keep the church clean and to collect offerings. It is the beginning steps of becoming a priest. Percy had to go through a similar thing while he was here.
So it's a system of indentured servitude. Good to know.
Right. Yeah. Right. Okay. Well, I'm sure it'll go fine. It'll be fine.
Let us pray that it goes fine. Oh, here's some gloves. And he puts them on. Well, I should probably get out there and
Yeah, we'll go sit down. And I usher you guys out. I'm like, guys, I'm freaking out here. Like, what do we do about the Yeti?
I'm excited.
We
What's gonna happen?
We worry about the Yeti after the phylactery's destroyed.
Okay, but he seems so nice. He seems so nice.
But that's not his personality, remember?
Yeah. You don't know what's
That's
underneath that guise of freeze. I seem nice to people that don't know me.
I guess. I don't know. It feels weird. I feel weird. I don't like this.
It's fine. We'll be fine. Let's just watch and see what's gonna happen.
So, to be fair, we have been almost stuck between a rock and a hard place, because if we don't do what she asks, we wind up probably getting murdered. And if we do what she asks, we get cursed.
Yeah.
Can we pass the buck off to somebody else like she did?
Last minute looking for wizards for hire, please. I think it's a little late for that.
Well,
We're in a different Saints territory. I don't think she can just come up here and like curse us.
Well,
Also,
she can wait till after we leave.
no offense, Percy, but your Saint Freya can't oust a single hag coven. So
Yeah.
she must have some sort of limitations on her powers still.
Why? Let's just go sit down. Let's just do the phylactery. Everything's gonna be fine. It'll be good.
But here's what you're gonna do. Right after that phylactery is destroyed, you just shoot this guy with your dispel, okay? Like, just shoot him.
I'm going to try to be at least somewhat subtle with it.
That's why we're gonna sit right behind him.
Yeah, we'll go. I'm just gonna go take a spot in the pews somewhere where I can try to get an angle on Father Freeze.
Mhm.
Oh, it's like Mr. Freeze and you're Batman.
I will say freeze is not Freeze. It is Fries. That would be how it was spelled.
Oh, so it's fries.
That's how they spell it in Batman, but it's Mr. Fries.
So it's fries. And
It's spelled fries, but it's pronounced freeze.
And your McDonald's.
God, now I'm just imagining this guy looks like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
My God.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
Stay cool, bird boy. No, he does not look like Arnold Schwarzenegger. So are you sitting like directly behind him, or are you sitting a few rows back and off to the side, or?
I mean, yeah, I'll go directly behind.
All right. Interesting strategy. So you all sit down and the mass begins. There is a part where Archbishop Sherman comes out, placing the chalice on the altar. He welcomes everybody. He says the typical invocations, turning to a statue of Saint Golgotha, who is dressed in a very large hood that comes down almost over her eyes. She carries in one arm a scythe that the blade curves over her head, and on the other, she holds a small but ornate bell. She also is adorned with patterns that show skulls and bones. But she also seems to be standing over a small replica of the Darkmoor Cathedral with her foot directly next to it, standing protectively over it. He says the invocation. There is a prayer. Incense is lit. and he comes to the part in which he asks Saint Golgotha to pour out her protection upon the city, holding up the chalice and making some holy gestures around it, obviously symbolizing a metaphorical pouring out for the congregation. As he continues his mass into his sermon, not much seems to happen, strangely. And soon his sermon is over, and the mass begins to draw to a close, where another prayer is said and a hymn is sung, and there comes to the point where there is a benediction. And as he finishes the benediction, raising his hand to bless everyone in the congregation, there is a hissing sound that rises from the altar as the chalice seems to transform from silver to gold as it begins to melt. Steam begins to come out that soon transforms into what appears to be ghosts of faceless people that begin to fly out the stained glass windows. And all of the candles are blown out. Before it seems the gold transforms back to silver as the chalice hardens, droopy and strange, before there's a loud bang and it explodes. And everyone stands up and backs away for a moment. And Archbishop Sherman, "It is all right, it is all right. Many things may happen. The saints work in mysterious ways, and perhaps this is a sign. We will need time to figure out what it means, but know that Saint Golgotha is protecting you. Go in peace and know that you are blessed as long as you live in her city." And he kind of gives a bit of a wave, and people kind of tentatively breathe a sigh of relief as they, much slower than before, begin to get up and leave. It's clear that this is the end of the mass.
Magic.
All right, let me
He
check
goes,
something real quick.
he just goes, dispel, ding, on Freeze's shoulder.
I'm checking another spell to make sure that just making sure you don't have to roll. You might have to roll. Yep, because Dispel Magic is 3rd level, and I'm counting this as something that is not. So let me just open up to Dispel Magic real quick. Because
I have it open. It's I have to roll the DC equals 10 plus the spell's level.
Yes. I'm not going to tell you what the DC is, but
Hell
you
yeah.
can roll. I believe
Okay,
you
so
add your wisdom to the roll, correct?
I add my spellcasting ability modifier.
Mhm.
All right, so I get a +4. I got 14 plus 4, so 18.
All right. You passed the DC, you reach out and you feel the sort of transmutive magic around Father Freeze that is making him what he is. And you yank a single string and it unravels entirely.
Is there a way for me to try to do like a stealth check or something so I can make this as minimal as possible? I will let you do
a sleight of hand check.
Okay.
To see.
All right, that's okay. That's gonna be.
There are still some people in here, right? It's not like
people. This is like 10 seconds after he says blessings upon you. People are still gathering their stuff. It's not like everyone's bolted out the door immediately.
Yeah.
I'd say that 99% of the congregation are still in the room.
So they will see what's happening.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Yes, this plan is awesome.
I got a 15 on sleight of hand.
I would say that your fellow party members notice you doing stuff, but they are standing enough in the way that other people don't. And you watch as indeed Father Freeze transforms before your very eyes, growing to almost 10 feet tall with huge hulking muscles, huge claws, tusks that come out, horns that curl back, big, thick white fur. And he seems to realize this as he looks and, and he turns and just leaps against the wall, crawling up the wall. People begin to scream as they see this. And he smashes out one of the stained glass windows and leaps away. As surprisingly, you watch as the altar boy begins to turn and look around confusedly.
Can I just
Not
grab him?
really saying anything.
Can I grab him?
Yes.
His clothes, his shirt.
Yeah,
Where are you going?
you can. You grab him, and at that moment, he whips around as his face transforms also into a Yeti. This is
But smaller, right?
a significantly smaller Yeti. Unlike Father Freeze, who transformed from maybe a 5'10" man to a 10-foot gigantic hulking creature, it seems that both the Yeti form and the child form are relatively the same height, maybe with an inch or two difference. But he transforms into a small child-sized Yeti and just starts yanking on your hand, trying to get away. People at this point are screaming and they are running. You currently have the Yeti this baby Yeti in your grasp, and the other Yeti is just off somewhere else.
What the hell? And then I just go, we have questions for you, boy.
Terrified, this baby Yeti is going to go and try and bite you. But he only gets an 11.
Oh.
Does an 11 hit?
What?
Does an 11 hit you, Rerek?
Let me see. I don't know. Where do I see that?
AC.
AC. Where is that?
It's the shield symbol up at the top.
No.
No.
My armor is at 12 class.
While that's going on, can Lark just be flying overhead and be like, Father Freeze was a Yeti! Father Freeze was a Yeti screaming from the north!
OMG! The whatever happened, it's kind of a great timing too, because whatever happened with the chalice kind of
they did happen quite close together.
So
no, Lark's just gonna be like, perhaps Saint Golgotha's magic dispelled the foul illusion.
You can
I
make a persuasion check?
Yeah, I'm gonna persuade.
Just make a persuasion check.
I'm trying to find a spell that would like make this kid just like restrain him.
My persuasion, that gets +8, so that's a 17.
You don't know if it worked, but you're definitely yelling it out into the crowd, and it seems people are hearing it as they turn and look up at you while screaming and running. It probably worked.
I'll just also throw in there and be like, Hags and Lockjaw! Hags and Lockjaw!
There are some confused looks, but also people are running from the Yeti, so it's very unclear whether or not it worked.
Yeah, and Lark will be like, they're known for employing horrible monsters as servants. He's literally not saying anything that's a lie. He's just letting people.
Very true. Very true. He is not lying. But yeah, very quickly, the sanctuary empties out. And at this point, Archbishop Sherman is running up to you guys. What happened? What is happening?
Percy says nothing.
Oh, Shermie, darling. Lark's just descending from above. Shermie, darling, calm down. We have it under control.
It didn't seem like you had it under control.
Well, nobody died yet, have they?
Well, I don't know. One of them could have died getting trampled in the square.
I kind of wish Arthur did like a hunter's mark on that giant Yeti. Is that what it is? Hunter's mark? Huh?
Could Arthur hunter's mark the Yeti before the Yeti yeets away?
Yes.
We keep going back in time.
I know we keep leaping backward. We're gonna have to deal with
as
it
a party.
Because he's not here. It's fine, I think.
Yeah, and he probably would have hunter's marked the Yeti anyway. So
and he can find it for an hour. Okay.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. And like, there's Jasmine. Also, Jasmine is also here. Everyone.
Yes.
Giant cat.
Giant cat. Is this Yeti kid still trying to like bite Rerek and get away?
Yeah, he's currently scrabbling on the floor, kind of with one hand gripped in Rerek's grasp, the other one on the arm, and kind of but the fabric of the cloak got caught, and so it's too thick for the Yeti to bite through.
Oh.
Can I descend far enough down that like I'm close to them all, and can everyone within 10 feet of me give me a wisdom saving throw? The Yeti kid is the main target, but it's going to hit everybody regardless.
Jesus. That's a 2.
Wisdom save. I'm good at that. This is 16.
Making one for that's an 11 for Archbishop Sherman. And flipping between stat blocks like a maniac. Oh, that is a 4 for the Yeti.
Okay, so my DC is a 16 and Percy met it. Does that mean he beats it?
Yes.
Okay, so Percy's the only one not affected.
I'm using my portent.
Percy feels too guilty to be affected by your magic right now.
I'm using my 19.
Portent for this, it's just a charm effect.
Okay, fine.
It is. I'm just as a player to player, it's a waste of your portent to not be charmed by me.
Okay. We're already charmed by Lark.
So Lark is going to invoke his Fey presence as he descends, because he is a Fey Warlock, or his Warlock levels are 2 in Archfey. And I've never actually had that succeed before, so project the beguiling and fearsome presence of the Fey. You can cause each creature in a 10-foot cube originating from you to make a wisdom saving throw against your Warlock spell save DC. If they fail, they are all charmed or frightened by me, my choice, until the end of my next turn. And I can't do this again until my next long or short rest. So I'm just gonna, I think I have to choose the same mode for everybody.
Yes.
So I'm just gonna choose Charmed, as Lark just like has a little extra glamour and glitter, or the beguiling presence of the
does it say humanoids specifically, or creatures?
It's creatures, I believe.
Okay, just sure.
Each creature. So it'll hit non-humanoids too.
All right.
So yeah, I'm just gonna descend and invoke my Fey presence and just be like, and talking to the little Yeti kid in common. Calm down. I'm your friend. You can call me Lark.
And he kind of stops, like on Rerek's arm, and just kind of looks up, and you see his eyes kind of go wide in like almost that anime with the sparkles in it, as he just goes, oh.
Archbishop Sherman, don't worry about anything. Just go back to doing whatever it is you do when we're not around. We need to have a little conversation here, though. So could you please leave us?
I trust that you have this under control now.
Wink at him.
Wonderful. I'll be back in my office if you need anything. And he just turns and walks back to his office.
Lark's just gonna look at Percy and be like, I had my hooks in him.
Right. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Okay, but
Should we just let him go? Maybe he's not hurting anyone.
little one, we need to know what's going on here. Can you speak common?
Let me check. Oh wait, actually, he probably would.
Don't they have 2 spells on them by the saint? One is
Multiple, more than 2.
Yeah, so we only dispelled what they look like.
Yeah.
Let's just. Can you speak common and tell me your name?
I was told my name was Dimitri.
Oh, Dimitri. Quite a name.
I
What's
guess
that
so.
mean? How long have you had a name?
A week.
Oh, only a week. Who gave you your name?
The big snow lady.
Oh, a big snow lady. She didn't happen to look like this, did she? Lark's gonna use minor illusion to conjure up a basic image of like a burr hag in his hand.
No.
Like clenches his hand to break the illusion for a minute. So what was that your mother or father who ran out of here without you?
No. I don't have a mom. I was left alone until the big snow lady picked me up and took me to the people village.
What did she have you do at the people village?
She said I was an altar boy. So I swept the floor and I cleaned up candle wax.
Do you know why she put you at the people village?
No.
Who was your big friend that you were here with?
I don't know. Another Yeti.
Now, is it true that he ate one of the people?
I don't know.
From a friend.
I don't know.
Mm.
She told me not to eat the people.
Well, that's a little unfortunate for you, honestly. Some of them taste rather good.
Oh. Should we go and pursue?
Do you know where the other Yeti is?
No.
Okay. Lark, what do we do?
I don't. The boy's caught in boy. It's a Dimitri. Is Dimitri a boy's name or a girl's name on the mortal plane?
I think it's normally a boy's name.
Well, the poor little thing seems all affright and all aflutter because of you, Percy. From what Arthur just said, you hunters. What was that, Arthur? You hunters marked the Yeti.
It was the best thing to do at the time. Are we gonna go get it or not?
We should follow. Dimitri, could you come with us while we go try to find your friend?
Okay.
It's probably, and this is in perfect honesty from me for a change, it's probably safest with us than you wandering elsewhere with all the people about. Though we should.
I mean, he's already an altar boy. I think we can leave him with, what's his name? Archbishop?
I mean, he's not an altar boy anymore.
Well,
Oh, I can. And he kind of lets go of your arm and he puts his thumb in his mouth and he transforms back into an altar boy.
Perfect.
Oh, so also the charm is definitely worn off by now because it only lasts for like until my next turn, but it's just a way to calm someone down or
Yeah.
freak the shit out of them in the middle of a fight.
Yeah. And it doesn't say that they turn hostile at the
No.
end.
It's one of the charm
'Cause I know
effects
that's
that doesn't notify people when it happens. So I like to think for a minute there, Rerek was just like, "Damn, Lark, you looking fine while you flying."
Me?
You mean you were charmed, darling?
Of course, charm doesn't necessarily mean attraction. It just means friendliness.
Or I was like,
we were BFFs for a minute there. I was gonna braid your hair.
yeah. I was like, I just thought your wings were like really, really shiny. That's for a moment.
Well, why don't we start going? Dimitri, you should come with us. Let's go.
No, he can work here. Just let him work here. That's the nicest thing we can do for him.
He does still look like an altar boy at the moment.
Go see Mr. Sherman P. Sherman Wallaby Street person.
Yes, go to the Archbishop, darling, and ask him if you can stay here for a while we go hunt down the other one of you. All right?
Oh, okay. And he kind of cautiously begins to walk towards the door that you all saw Archbishop Sherman leave through.
I feel like when Lark was talking to me, he's doing like the cheek pat thing as he puts him away. And like once the kid's out of earshot, he's just gonna be like, children on the mortal plane are so easy to trick when you know how to do it.
All right, well, let's just go get the other one. I don't know what we're going to do with it.
Well,
we should probably ask it questions.
He's probably confused. We only made him look like a Yeti. No, we only made him go back to his Yeti form. He still has other spells in there.
And unlike Dimitri dropped the spell of what it transformed because he was scared. Percy, you shredded the other one's disguise. He can't probably change back half as easily.
Yeah. Let's go get him. Let's go.
Let's hurry up.
Lead the way, Arthur.
Already ahead of you, as he's kind of just marching out the door. So if Arthur could make a survival check with advantage, I believe, because of the Hunter's Mark.
Hunter's Mark advantage. Let's look at Arthur's sheet. I love how he collected all of our sheets and then like never sent his back to anybody. Now
He sent me his, but like way in the beginning, all the way in the beginning.
Okay, so I have 2 d20s. Where is it? And you said survival?
Yes. Because that tends to be how you track things.
Oh, Jesus. Yofi, how are you playing a ranger with this low of wisdom?
Exposed.
Well, that's a nat 20, so...
There we go.
Nat 20 and a 3. Thank you, advantage.
Yeah. So you go out into the streets and you begin following scared people kind of walking away from certain areas, shingles that have fallen to the ground, bent gutters and other things for quite a while, until you make it to a smaller warehouse that seems to be entirely empty. And Arthur just goes, Jasmine can smell him in there. You want to go in stealthy or you want to go in guns blazing?
Maybe we talk to him?
Now that I think about it, was it a good idea to like follow him outside of the church?
Why?
I don't know. I'm not that religious, but I feel like having the presence of another saint over there would have been.
Well, we can't stay in the church for forever.
We've also already established that Saint Freya, yet again, can't oust a hag coven that's serving Gryla of all people on her own. So I'm not as concerned with her as I was yesterday.
All
Though,
right.
Gryla is a mad bitch. Like,
Mhm.
insane.
Can you calm this guy down?
Can I calm him
Mark?
down?
Yeah.
With magic or with my natural charms, darling?
Magic.
I might have something that'll work.
Wait, is he close to us now? Is he in that warehouse? Do we see him?
You don't see him, but Arthur has indicated that the trail ends here.
Okay.
If I do this, though, darling, I need you to maybe a bit of help with that marvelous little thing you do when you make sure fate twists in someone's favor, just to be safe.
Okay. Let's go in there first.
Cool. Yeah, let's just head in. Should we knock?
It's an abandoned warehouse.
But he's in
Jeez.
there.
It's not his house. Let's
Yeah,
go.
but he's like scared. Okay.
Okay. I mean, you do the whatever it is you want to do.
Percy's just gonna go and open the door and go in.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
So you do push open the door. You do manage to get it open a little bit before it hits something. It is a gap that's wide enough that if you maybe sucked in a little bit, you could squeeze through.
I'm also a small
But it
creature,
seems
so
that the Yeti has placed a very large, what appears to be some kind of crate in front of the door to try and block it, at least for some time. And you do hear a big thing shuffling around in the back of the warehouse.
We're not here to hurt you yet.
Oh my god. Yeah, I guess I'll start pushing my way through and be like, hello?
Father Freeze.
You don't hear a response.
Okay, do I get past the crate and stuff?
Well,
It seemed to be put up in a hurry, so it wasn't like pushed all the way up against the door. It was probably just tossed in front of the door. So there is still space that you can like squeeze through.
will my detect magic be able to like probably see him like glowing?
I'll do the light cantrip also if it's dark in here.
It is definitely dark in here. It's an abandoned warehouse.
Cool.
But your detect magic is down, but you get the sense that because there was only one effect that was dispelled, you'd definitely be able to spot him.
All right, I shall do that one more time.
All right. Yep. He's in the back right corner of the building. You see a big ball of transmutation magic right there.
Oh,
Okay, well, he's over there.
if you can see magic now, I'm just going to, if you see any coming off of me noticeably, just make sure it works. And we should be able to get out of here with some answers. Capiche?
Capiche.
Blow Rerek a quick smooch and just flying over there.
Okay.
You dodged it!
The what?
Like dramatically sinks in the air like he's diving.
Just go do what you said you're gonna do, and let's try and get this door open.
Follow me, boys, but be a little behind, okay? Though Percy be in the front of the pack.
Am I behind you or in front of you? What do you want?
I'm going first in the air, and you're all on the ground.
Okay.
But you're coming first so that I can point you out easily when he bothers to pay attention. All right?
Sure.
So yeah, I'm gonna start flying over to where Rerek pointed and just be like, freeze, or whatever your name is. Can you calm down for a moment and have a quick chat?
People saw me.
Now, darling, I really think that you should. And so, like, above game, it's all going to flow together as one normal, easy sentence. But I'm going to subtle spell a suggestion on this guy.
Mm-hmm.
And my sentence, I get 2 sentences to describe a line of action to him. So I'm just going to be like, I really think you should calm down and tell us what's going on and listen to us. So that's what I'm going to say with my suggestion spell. Pretty much have a conversation with us. And I need a wisdom saving throw from him. But there's no noticeable spell casting because of the way subtle spell works. Though I guess Rerek can literally see just a 2nd level worth of enchantment magic flowing out of my mouth.
Very true. Does a 17 pass?
A 17 would pass. Rerek, help!
Okay. Does 14 pass?
No, I would assume not.
Oh, there you go. He can have my 14.
So it would make it a 15.
No, you need to. A 16 is beating my spell save DC.
Okay, so if he uses a 14, then he'd get a 15. So he fails. And takes the suggested action. And you watch as this giant Yeti crawls out of the darkness of the corner and then just sits down near you guys. He's still very visibly afraid, but he's not like throwing things at you or anything. Just kind of, what do you want?
Well, this is my friend Percy. He's a cleric like you, I suppose. And we just had some questions for you, darling. Can you answer questions?
Okay.
Come, boys.
Yeah, I'll come up and be like, hello? Did you have a name besides Father Freeze? Or is that all you know?
That's all I know.
Okay, that's fine. Were you given this magic by Freya?
Yes. She told me to go to the village at the bottom of the mountain. She told me to go into the church. There was a man there. She wanted me to eat. When I ate him, I don't know what happened, but she told me to stay there until she told me that it was okay to leave. That's all she said.
Is she the one that sent you here to ask for help against the hags?
Yes, she told me to go since the man I ate wrote a letter.
And you were to bring aid back with you, correct?
If I could, yes.
Right.
Didn't Dub follow us here? Didn't she say she'll be in the shadows? Dub? Hello?
There's no response.
Oh gosh, she left us. I honestly don't know what we're gonna do. with this guy?
Well, I mean, we exposed him and we caught up a fuss about the hags in the north, and hopefully that gets the useless clergymen off their asses. I just find it personally entertaining that your saints have their followers cannibalized if they're not doing their jobs. Is that going to happen to you, Percy? Is Saint Hypatia going to have someone eat you?
If she was, maybe she could do it a little faster. Let's just.
Who didn't Dove say that we had to prove that Freeze was dead?
Yes.
So how do we? Because the way that it looks like is that Freeze was a Yeti all along instead of him being dead.
True, but it also, someone here may have told the crowd that planted just the seed of an idea in the crowd's head that Freeze was working for the Hag Coven in the north.
So are we done here?
I don't
Should
know.
we let him go?
What
I mean,
what were you to do after you came here and requested help, Freeze?
Stay for 7 days, then go home. Keep doing what she told me to do and wait for her to bring a new person.
Person to eat?
and to replace him.
Oh,
I suppose. Do you suppose that he was just her, what she could make do with in a pinch?
I think so.
Oh, does that mean Dimitri also ate a child?
Dimitri said he didn't eat anyone.
Fair. He'd be so much more interesting if he had.
Well, what more could Dev want from this? I mean, this has to be enough.
I mean, we could.
No. No, he's a nice guy.
Oh
that's
no,
not his personality. That's his Mr. Freeze personality talking.
oh no, this poor sap barely has the brains to figure out what's going on, darling. I'm not saying we kill him. I'm just saying we bring him along so that Dove can sort this out herself in person.
Okay, Arthur, do you know how we could get Dove around again?
I mean, we could always drop a line with Franklin.
I guess we can go do that then.
So I don't think. Do you mind if I call you Freeze, darling? I'm talking to the Yeti again.
Okay.
I don't suppose you can turn back into a human right now, can you?
I've been trying. It's not working.
Someone very mean and nasty must have done something terrible to you.
Why don't Arthur? Maybe you can go give Franklin a line, or either I can stay here with Freeze, and we can have a Dove find us here.
Yes. See if you can. Could you do that, Arthur, and see if you could find her and bring her here? I can. Freeze is going to be having a conversation with us for a while, is all I can say.
All right, well, I need a drink anyway. And he walks out with Jasmine, presumably to go drop a line with Franklin.
Wonderful. So I guess I'll like sit down somewhere near Freeze and be so what do you do for fun?
I've just been waiting.
Cool. But you're from up north, so you got like lots of snow and stuff. Have you made a snowman before?
No.
Oh, uh,
Do you remember what it was like before you started thinking, darling? Do you have any memories from back then?
Eating, mostly hunting and eating.
You know, it's almost a shame what she did to you, to remove you so far from your natural state.
Is he like full grown with like horns or something like that?
Yeah, he seems to be a fully adult Yeti, at least from what you can tell.
Excuse me.
After a while, you do notice that this Yeti is starting to shrink. Slowly, but noticeably over a period of time. The fur seems to begin to disappear and be replaced with the robes. And soon there is the form of Father Freeze, there standing in the abandoned warehouse.
Darling, I thought you said you couldn't change back.
I couldn't. I tried, but I couldn't.
Would you allow me to identify what's up with you this time?
I guess so, if it will help.
Cool. Now I'll cast identify for reals. Gonna need to touch it.
He's definitely affected by a massive amount of transmutation magic. One is similar to the Awaken spell that gives him the intelligence in order to speak Common and presumably a few other languages. There is definitely a transmutation spell similar to Polymorph that allows him to change his shape to become Father Freeze. He seems to be able to, at least from what you glean, unlike Polymorph, he's able to undo it himself and redo it whenever he wishes. But depending on how he was using it, he might not have. Those are the two main ones. And it seems that they are persisting because they are divine magic cast by a saint, as opposed to being broken because it was by a mortal. So you assume that Percy's dispel magic didn't unravel the disguise entirely, but simply suppressed it for a period of time. It's possible that only another saint or Saint Freya herself would be able to truly undo it, or a being just as powerful, if not more powerful, but a mortal casting a third level dispel magic is probably not going to completely unravel the effect. And that's about what you get.
Cool. So that's what I tell them. So yeah, since Saint Freya casted those spells, it wouldn't really the dispel magic that you cast against it is not supposed to last forever. Percy.
gotcha.
Unless you're powerful enough or as powerful as a saint. Or you're another saint.
Cool.
Which means we really do need Duck over here.
So I guess we just kind of keep waiting.
Yeah, it does
Okay.
take a bit because he does have to run to the shovel and spade all the way on the other side of town to drop a line and then run all the way back.
Oh, I should have allowed him to fly. That would have been faster.
What did the snow lady? What can you do now other than turn into freeze and not freeze? She show you anything else you can do, darling?
I can cast some of the spells he can. I've done some healing, but that's about it.
And why exactly did she have you eat him in the first place?
She just told me to do it.
Were you compelled to follow what she said? Like, did you have to do it?
I don't know. I was too scared not to. I tried to attack her, but she bested me in combat.
Ooh.
But so she's physically here on the mortal plane then,
Maybe.
or was? Fascinating.
I just went. Sorry. Go ahead.
I know. If you want to say something, Lark was just gonna start fucking around with this guy a little.
Yeah, go ahead. Mine's like not in game at all.
Freeze, do you have any questions for us, darling?
When can I go home?
Didn't
Not
you
right
say
now.
the snow lady said you had to wait 7 days?
Yeah, she did.
Are we that poor of company, dear?
No, I'm just scared.
Can you communicate with her right now?
I don't know.
Can't you pray to her or something? You're
She
technically an
didn't,
actual priest.
she didn't tell me that I could.
When was the last time you saw her?
Before I ate the person she told me to eat.
Interesting.
Will she be watching us? Does she know that this is happening? Can saints do that? Like, are they omniscient? I'm asking Percy. I don't know.
I don't know if Saint Freya is watching us right now. She could be.
Oh, dear. Where's the dove?
If Saint Freya's watching us right now, could she make her presence known, perhaps, so we could cut to the source? I'm just speaking. Lark's just speaking in the air, like, "Are you there? Are you there? God, it's me, Lark."
It was like
Percy, you do hear a voice in your head.
Ooh.
It is a familiar voice. It is the voice of Dove. And she just says, I've received a message. You have revealed Father Freeze. Arthur has told me the warehouse he's in. He won't be harmed. The Vespers know I have been paid. You can leave him there. And that's it. That's all you get.
Doesn't sending allow you to say a response?
Yes. I think I used more than 25 words, which I think is the limit, but you can respond in about 25 words, but then for her to respond, she'll have to recast it.
I think I'm just gonna say, I want him to go home.
You don't get any response, but you know it has reached Dove.
Yeah. Well, boys, Dove just contacted me. She says everything is in the clear. The Vespers are seemingly not interested in harming our Yeti friend, and she's instructed us to leave him here.
Okay.
I mean,
Oh,
do we
should
really want to
we?
do that though?
What?
Do we really want to do that though?
I don't know.
Should we bring Dimitri here too, so they would both be taken care of?
That's a smart idea. We should go collect Dimitri and bring him here.
All right.
I can't go too far from. Well, let me see here. Is there a physical range on this?
On
Suggestion. I mean, there's a range when I cast it, but then as long as I concentrate on it, it just sticks
yes,
around.
and I think it already ran out if you cast it at its base level.
It has an 8-hour duration.
Oh,
Yeah.
does it not end if the target successfully carries out?
Well, we haven't ended our conversation, have we?
Oh, I guess you haven't.
Well then, Lark, if you want to continue having a conversation, me and Rerek can bring back Dimitri.
I feel it would be possibly not a grand idea to leave him here alone.
I agree.
I'll watch over our dear little friend. The two of you want to go fetch the child.
Yes.
Okay. Can we time skip?
Yeah, I was going to
anything-
say, at this
is
point,
there-
we should probably, as the two of you leave to fetch Dimitri, Arthur is presumably either heading back or taking a few drinks at the Shovel and Spade, and Lark is staying behind with the Yeti that is imposing as Father Freeze. We're going to end the episode there. So all of you, hopefully we'll have Yofi back next week, or I should say the week after, since these episodes come out in pairs. But I will see all of you next week, and I will see you guys in about 10 minutes.